Some days I feel like as if I am the spokesperson for CarlinKit. I've reviewed a good amount of their products in the past, from their dash cams to wireless dongles, even to their Android boxes. Their first AI box added Android to any vehicle, which can offer some versatility. Most automakers don't really have good software in their vehicles. Their Android AI box, which came out in 2023, don't get me wrong, it was good, but we're in 2024. They do have a newer model out now. It has enough to stand out from the competition. Hey, welcome back. It's V. Let's get started. I've reviewed a few different Android AI boxes for vehicles, and CarlinKit is a brand I am more familiar with. This is their ambient AI box. It is similar to their last model, but it is a little bit different at the same time. Disclaimer: never watch or play any games in your vehicle while driving. Always make sure the vehicle is in park when using this Android AI box. This Android AI box will add Android to any vehicle's touchscreen. Most applications will work with this from the Android ecosystem. Getting to the unboxing, you have the unit itself. It's fairly lightweight and compact. There is a RGB ring on the outside. It has a nice woven texture on the outside to kind of help set it apart from the rest. Inside the box, you also have a USB Type-C to Type-C cable. There's also a Type-C to Type-A cable. They give you both because some cars will use either port. Alongside that, you have the instructions. This will only work with vehicles that will offer wired CarPlay or Android Auto. This device has a USB-C port on the back side to connect to about any vehicle. Also a micro SD card slot and a SIM card tray for 4G data connection. The RGB ring lights up when connected and can be adjusted. I do like the woven design on the outside. It really does stand out. Their last model had a Snapdragon 6125, 2 to 8 gigabytes of RAM, and up to 128 gigabytes of storage. This model has the Snapdragon 6225, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 128 gigabytes of storage, but it is powerful enough to get by. Compared to the last year's model, this one is about 10 to 15% faster. You won't really quite notice much of a difference, but it is there. Most of these Android boxes have the Snapdragon 6125, so as far as I know, this is the most powerful one on the market right now. When it comes to this type of device, RAM is the most important factor. Always go with the one with the most RAM, at least 8 gigabytes, because Android can be a resource hog. Most Android apps will work with most vehicles' touchscreens, but some apps might not work properly, so just take that into consideration. This also offers wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Most manufacturers who make these types of devices will stick to the Snapdragon 6 series chips because they're usable and they're fairly cheap. I've always driven Honda Civics. This will work with most Hondas. This Android box should work with most vehicles, give or take, within the last 4 or 5 years. If any vehicle supports wired CarPlay or Android Auto, hypothetically, this should work because the Android box tricks the vehicle into thinking it is CarPlay, and that's why it always comes up as CarPlay. I like these types of devices because it's a simple plug-and-play solution. I don't really have to mess around with any of the settings. I plug it in, and that's all I need it to do. Typically, this will take about 30 seconds to boot up. It has a slightly custom skin to give it more of a layout for like a vehicle. It is a little bit more user-friendly than stock Android. It is the same skin they've been using over Android for the last few years. It is a little bit dated, but I mean, it still works. This is one of the more powerful devices out there, so it should perform better. I really haven't noticed any slowdowns or hiccups while using this. It's a simple plug-and-play solution, and that's really about it. When first greeted with the home screen, the general layout is pretty familiar. There are the 4 recently opened apps on the left-hand side. The bottom left corner will open up the app tray. You have the main widget, which is always open. Here it is Google Maps, but it can always be changed. The media widget is in the top right corner. It doesn't work half the time. The bottom right corner is your 4 favorite apps. To change them out, long press on each one, delete it, and then select a new one. Swiping down will reveal the notifications like normal Android. There's a shortcut for Wi-Fi Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, data, and location services. The floating button is used for navigation and can be moved around. Clicking the main widget will bring up the app in full screen. This is the general overview of the main home screen. For general navigation, the floating button is your best friend. It can be moved or adjusted anywhere on the screen. Clicking it once will bring up the functions for navigation. The first one will take you back to the home screen. The second one will return you back to the last page opened, more so a back button. The third one is multitasking for Android. Having too many applications open will slow this device down. They can be closed individually or all together. If wireless CarPlay is active and the app is closed, it will disconnect from your phone. The fourth one is just Google Voice Search. The fifth one is split screen. It allows multiple applications on the same screen. They tend to be a little bit slow and a little bit buggy, or it doesn't quite work right. It does not work that great for my vehicle because it is only a 7-inch touchscreen. This might be ideal for other people who have like a 12 or 15-inch touchscreen, so this function is very hit or miss in my car. The sixth one is RAM boost. I believe it clears up the RAM cache and makes the Android box run a little bit faster. The seventh one will take you back to your vehicle's original home screen. This is like the normal navigational shortcuts just to operate this device. Most of these I don't really use. I just use the first and the third one the most. With these types of devices, I don't really have to go to the settings often, but for my review purpose, I will go over everything for those who might be interested. With the settings, you can customize a few things. You have your standard stuff for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You can connect to like a hotspot or any Bluetooth device. With this being Android, you can use keyboards, mice, game controllers will work with this. You have 120 gigs available for storage. The storage can be expanded up to 120 gigabytes with a micro SD card for music, movie, media, games, whatever you want. This runs Android 13 out of the box. In the navigation setting, you can change the home screen widget, Waze, MapQuest, Ask Jeeves, YouTube, TikTok, Call of Duty, just to name a few. I like to stick with Google Maps because I like Google Maps. Every time a new app is selected, it does take a few seconds for it to reboot. The video definition can be changed to make the Android box run faster, but it won't look quite as good or smooth. I tend to keep it around 6 or 7, so it can run a little bit faster. It won't look as crisp. There are 2 native launchers built in. The first one I already went over. The second one is just a music widget in the app tray. It doesn't do anything else. But within the settings, this is the most you can really customize it. I'm not sure if you can like download like Nova Launcher or anything else. I might get to that in a future video. This box has a RGB ring on the outside. It helps set itself apart from the first one. Think of like a 1980s neon light. I'm not sure why it needs it, but damn it, it has one, because why not? The lights have their own separate app, like to change the colors or customize it, but I really find them distracting, so I keep the lights off. The lights can be changed. They can pulse really fast or really slow, or a variety of effects. They can't really bounce to the music playing, which is kind of disappointing. It's just one of those things which they offer. I more so find it distracting, so I keep it off. With this being Android, it has a bunch of standard native built-in apps. The Play Store allows access to billions of apps such as TikTok, Facebook, Netflix, a bunch of streaming services, games. It's really endless. You can really start shopping on Amazon from your vehicle's touchscreen. The first one is a Bluetooth phone dialer. The second one is Google Maps. I use that all the time. The third one is a native Android messaging app. Unless you have a SIM card, you can't really use the text, data, or voice. Number 4 is the same. It's the standard Android phone dialer. The car app just takes you back to your vehicle's original home screen. It's the same thing as a shortcut on the floating button. APK installer is used for sideloading apps here. It's not really found in the Play Store. Just put all of your apps on the micro SD card to install anything. BT Music is just a crappy music player. It doesn't really do anything else. Settings is just settings. AutoKit is just wireless CarPlay or Android Auto. Chrome is a full Android browser. Everything here works. With the hardware being very mid-range from 2020, Chrome might slow down occasionally from time to time. Gallery is up next for viewing photos and videos. The Play Store allows downloads from millions and millions of apps. YouTube Music is the full experience here for streaming music, but there are a lot of ads here. Contacts is your standard Android phone book. Next up is YouTube. It works just like YouTube. All the videos will play. Because my touchscreen has a native resolution of 360p, the the videos will not look that crisp compared to like other phones or tablets. Some car manufacturers might have higher resolution screens, but mine is pretty basic. Spotify is a music streaming service. I do not have an account with them. FOTA is for software updates. Google Search is just Google Search. The LED controls the circular lights on the outside. GPS Test Plus, I'm assuming just controls the GPS location for this box. File Explorer is just a normal file management app. Netflix is Netflix, it works great. U-Center is for GPS calibration, I believe. Waze is for navigation. Some people might prefer this over Google Maps. VCL Player is good for watching videos. These are your standard built-in apps. Most of the time, I just use Google Maps and the CarPlay app. I don't really use most of these services. This is the normal app for wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. I prefer the CarlinKit 2 Air wireless dongle. It gives wired CarPlay and makes it wireless. It's the best dongle for my vehicle. It only costs about $50. I've had it for over a year now and it's worked so well. If hotspotting from your phone for data connect to the Android box, wireless CarPlay will not work here. You either have to pick one or the other. Any phone will connect to this device over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It works really well, but there is a noticeable delay with audio while playing videos. There's about a 3 or 4 second delay. Phone calls seem to work fine without any delay. This works pretty good. It's quick, fast, and snappy. It works like any normal wired CarPlay. While booting this up from startup, it takes about 30 seconds for the Android box, and then wireless CarPlay takes about 15 seconds after that to boot up, so a little bit under a minute. The CarlinKit 2 Air takes about 10 seconds to boot up to connection. If anyone is getting this for wireless CarPlay, I highly recommend the 2 Air. It works the best. Wired CarPlay with audio is pretty much instant because it has a real physical connection. With audio being wireless, there's always a 3 or 4 second delay because everything has to move over Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so it takes time for the signal to travel. Just for context, I have a couple minutes of different clips showcasing audio and video. It's not a deal breaker for myself, but it might be for some people.
This movie right here, you guys understand why this product is vital. This product is...
It is bedtime. Let's go.
Here's what it's like to enter in a house that's controlled by extreme germaphobe mom. So first thing first.
You go back out? Okay.
It's clingy. Number 4, golden retriever. These guys are super clingy. They're convinced that personal space is just a myth invented by cats, and their mission in life is to...
Bro, read that comment.
Shit past the gore-stained glass. The mindless outside continued to inflict horrific injuries onto themselves, and they showed no sign of slowing down.
This is one of the newer Android boxes for any vehicle. With this being Android, the possibilities are endless what you could really do with this. It has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto for extra features. If anyone owns the older version of this, that should still be fine for the next few years. This Android box is meant for any of the newer consumers out there. This Android box is meant for like newer owners who are looking for one. This one is newer. It's about 15% faster. It's a little bit more powerful, but personally, it's not really worth the upgrade. It's like going from an iPhone 12 to an iPhone 13. It is better, but is it really worth paying more for it? For the price point of being under $200, there's a small group of people who might be interested in this. It's interesting and unique what you can really do with this between most stock software on any car. With being one of the more powerful Android boxes out on the market, this one really should be checked out and considered. It's not for everyone, but it is fun. So, like always, it's V, stay classy.